Welcome back to the Analyst Desk ahead of our final game, G2 Esports versus Misfits Gaming. Last week, Perkz announced that he'll be taking a small break from the LEC, and I just want to send a personal thank you to Perkz for putting his hand up and saying that he needed some time, and also to G2 for giving him the space to do so. I would love to encourage everybody to feel empowered to ask for support from those around you when you need them and when you're struggling. Let's turn our attention to the game, though, with Perkz sitting out. His replacement today is Pinoy. Who is he? Well, those of you who may remember Gambit Gaming, and in particular Genja, Pinoy was actually the AD carry that replaced Genja. He was particularly well known for his Graves. This was pre-rework, and as he has said multiple times already, he's the double lift killer, as it were.
Yeah, so,
Vedius.
you know, around the time when Ender was learning to walk, this guy was in pro play in the European LCS. And I think that when he first joined the team, there were many question marks because he was replacing a very known figure in the form of Genja with Gambit. But I think that he had a pretty impressive performance at the time. But since then, he's been on a wide array of different teams, ranging from various different leagues. And it's going to be interesting to see what kind of quality level he brings to the league, because he's not the typical sub that I would expect from a team like G2 Esports. And I think the expectations need to be, I'm not going to set super high expectations on him, you know, coming in, performing for a team like with G2 that's already struggling, I feel right now, given the inconsistency and the level of performance that they've showed. I'm curious as to how they're going to approach utilizing Pinoy today.
Yeah, and I think it's worth pointing out, too, that, like, G2 have made, you know, quick swaps like this before in the past. Like, think back to 2019 when Promiscu came into the bottom lane, and they just sort of tried to slot him into Mickey's position, and they still found success towards the tail end of that split. So, I mean, obviously it's a different situation this time around, but I think G2 have the pieces around it that they can sort of ease Pinoy back onto the LEC stage and not be too off guard.
But then the question is, if G2 do theoretically have some experience, some ability to work around this, how can Misfits take advantage of this? Of course, you know, this is the full team. They've got a pretty strong duo. They may be able to punish the fact that Pinoy and Mikyx will not have the same level of synergy. So maybe Vedius, you know, how could Misfits play around?
What I think is really interesting about Misfits right now is that with the introduction of Kobbe to the roster, one of the things I expected of Misfits was that they would be a lot more bot side focused. We'd see a lot more play through the bot lane, through the duo, trying to get them ahead and trying to play through Kobbe and trying to diversify their styles. But I feel like the team hasn't really found a huge amount of success through that, and it's not something that they've often tried to do. So I don't know if they can actually reliably play through their bot side of the map, or at least so far this split, they haven't demonstrated to me that they've been able to do it.
Also, I don't think that, like, attack the new player is the strategy that you'd necessarily need to go for. It's not like new players come onto the stage and start, like, inting and handing away free kills all the time. I actually think peak Misfits is when they play through Febiven hard in the mid lane. When Razork can team up with support, I want to see him work better with DOS to attack around mid, because when Misfits was finding a lot of success towards the beginning of Spring Split of this year, it was through Febiven having phenomenal performances, and of course Razork and Denix spending a lot of time around that middle lane.
And I do think that G2 is a team that plays very early game focused. They're very much about snowballing, or at least that's what a lot of their drafts and playstyle have showed us recently. And I think the way in which people have been able to defeat G2 is by mitigating that early aggression and going for more of a scaling comp, and then being able to beat them in team fights later. And I think that if Misfits take this approach, then I think that their chances of taking down G2 are much higher.
Okay, so give me some predictions now. We're about to jump into G2 with a sub, taking on Misfits. Ender, you get to go first.
I'm going to go G2. I think even with Pinoy in the bottom lane, it's going to be smooth sailing for them. They're going to be all right.
Yeah, and I'm also leaning on the side of G2. I think that Misfits have showcased a lot of macro issues when it comes to the mid to late game, and that's put them in situations where they've thrown a lot of games. And while it looked a little bit better last week, I'm still not super optimistic against a team like G2.
Interesting. Even with the substitute, my analysts are predicting a G2 victory. Let's find out if they are correct or not. We do not yet have the Masters. Ender, I know you've got something very pressing to have a look at.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Run home?
No, I'm all right for now.
Okay, so we are actually going to head over to Froskurinn. Hopefully Drakos is back by now.
Wait, is it just me? Where did Drakos go? Okay. Hi team, we're getting ready for G2 with your boy Pinoy versus Misfits with your boys Febiven, Kobbe, Das, Razork, and Dan. So we're gonna see how it works out. In all seriousness, I've never done a solo cast, so we're gonna see how, I don't know, did he fall into the toilet or something? Who cares? Heard it from the Analyst desk. They were talking about how G2 have experience playing with subs, that how the Analysts are still favoring them, and I hear you, Twitch chat. You're tired. G2 are down. You want to kick them. You want to put salt in the wound. You never get to flame G2, and now is your chance because they're no longer on the same pedestal that they were. I think Misfits have the playstyle to do it if they draft correctly for it. I want to see the scrappy skirmish Misfits. I want to see Febiven get on a champion that can get mid lane priority, something like the Azirs, so he can unlock Razork to be that jungler that we know he can be. And I want a co-caster really badly because I really got to take a drink. Okay, here we go. Hype music. Expectations for bans. Pinoy is probably going to be looking for a comfort champion, so I would imagine that they would prioritize his champion pool. We've seen a lot of first picks into the Syndra, and we're going to see what happens here. Obviously, one of the big strengths that G2 have, okay, this answers my question. One of the big strengths that G2 have is that Perkz is a phenomenal Kalista player, so they can often not ban that one from blue side, where a lot of teams are forced into banning it from blue side because they themselves aren't so comfortable into the champion. So again, it feels like we're still really sculpting for whatever Pinoy wants. Maybe it's even a Volibear first pick, as we've started to see that a lot more in the ERLs rising up, especially on 10-13. Ooh, okay. Minimizing Cap's impact with the Twisted Fate. And another AD carry ban. So that tells me that, again, trying to find the comfort champion for Pinoy. They don't want to waste the bans on Varus and Kalista. Sorry, talking to my producers. Oh, God bless. Never mind, it's an imaginary friend. Medic is actually not here. Okay. There we go, first pick. Kind of questionable about the Bard pick. Obviously, Mikyx a great Bard player. Maybe they're just trying to keep him locked down in lane. But priority picking Pinoy's champion, it looks like it's going to be the Ezreal, the snap grab. There we go, Febiven's Azir. We talked about how much that can unlock Razork because you're basically guaranteed to have mid lane priority and allow your jungler to really do as he wants. And I also agree with denying an Ezreal Azir comp because the range is so oppressive when you go into team fights, and that's something that G2 really excel with. So they pivot. We talked about it at the beginning of the day. It's an AP Kog'Maw. Now, Vedius said it on the Analyst desk. AP Kog'Maw kind of works like a Xerath in a sense, in that you can outrange the Azir. Now, you're not going to be able to contest for priority until much later on when you have more points in your E and you're able to clear the wave pretty safely, usually around level 6. So Caps should be shoved into his tower. It's not going to be the same, you know, oppressive Caps flying around the map everywhere that you would expect it. But in later team fights, AP Kog'Maw can dish out a ton of damage on 10-13. He had his ratios buffed up there, as well as try to stay at a safe distance with Azir. And in tandem with Ezreal, G2 are playing that range advantage, but the counter then would be something like a dive, like a Kai'Sa. In the LPL, Kai'Sa is considered a great counter to a champion like Ezreal. You usually have to find different ways to engage onto it, something like a Nautilus. Kai'Sa can do that with her ultimate. Ezreal goes to line up his shot, pull the True Shot Barrage, Kai'Sa presses R, lands behind him, and then just 1v1 pops him like a balloon.
So Froskurinn, as you take a moment to take a breath, I'm just going to check to see if my audio is coming through, and it is. So we are here. I am with you. We have sorted it out. I've done some Diablo riffs, and I'm here for some more action. I'm really looking forward to this game. G2 versus Misfits is going to be a great one. Let me quickly get caught up on the draft. As you said, AP Kog is going to be really interesting.
I'm ready for the solo cast. Just take a knee.
Hey, okay, well, you can sort of cast for the next couple of minutes as I get caught up if you want, Frost.
It's all good. I got it. I'm explaining right now that unfortunately Drakos had some internet issues. He's trying to resolve that, but in the meantime, Medic is going to be my imaginary friend to join me. Shout out to Captain Flowers, last guy who did the solo cast, as well as LS over there. We're in second portions of bans. I'm going to be the playbook playcaster now. I'm going to be like, oh yeah, second portion of bans coming out. Trundle and Braum and Nautilus, and I hope that they ban Leona here because I think that's going to be the snap grab if they don't. Okay, yep. you're gonna get Leona'd.
You think it's just Leona lock-in? I mean, Leona works really well in this composition, but I'm wondering if there's anything else you'd want to team up with
You need a long-range
Kai'Sa.
engage to grab the Kog'Maw, as well as even threaten the Ezreal. But I think it's mostly to grab Kog'Maw. Hit him
So
with
my thought is you could pick Ornn, and Ornn works just as well, and then you could go Kai'Sa Yumi if you wanted to in the bottom lane.
But then you give away your flex of your Sett. Whereas if you hold it, you pick support here, then last pick you could still go for the Ornn, and like you're saying, still get that backline reach.
Oh, I agree with you, and so do Misfits Gaming as they lock in the Leona. And now G2 have a few decisions to make. You're looking towards your support. You're looking towards either your jungle or your top laner. The Volibear expected to go towards the jungle because that's where we've seen most Volibears recently.
Technically it's still that flex, but you are correct. Of course, now they need to grab some sort of safety since you have the hard engage coming from Leona. So grabbing the Tahm Kench. I think one of the issues that G2's comp has is they really need zone control right now. So while I would prefer if they went to more of a like heavy AD champion, I think they need something that's going to control space in front of them. That would do it. Okay, so going for Beyblade here. If the top is spinning multiple times, I actually don't care if Wukong hits anyone. Mordekaiser is open. He's going to get immediately Mordekaisered. I don't care if Wunder wins this 1v1. I don't care if he actually hits on anyone or gets into the backline. If he does, it's a bonus. He actually just needs to create time and space for Caps and Pinoy to use the range. On the other side, Misfits Gaming's composition, they're going to get the counter pick in the top lane of the Mordekaiser versus Wukong. We talked about how Wukong's passive helps him much more against AD champions rather than AP. Mordekaiser can also just pull him immediately from a fight with his ultimate, which is why he's often seen as a counter. You then also have great range and priority to open up Razork with Febiven on the Azir, and then Kobbe's counter of Ezreal with the Kai'Sa as well as Leona. So I think Misfits Gaming, my personal opinion, have the better comp. But we'll see if G2 can out-team fight with this one and without perks.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting. And of course, you're putting a lot on Pinoy to stay safe in team fights. You have that front line to protect him. And of course, you've got the Tahm Kench as well. But with so much being invested in keeping Caps alive, Pinoy kind of has to rely on himself and rely on his positioning in these fights to do well. The last time we saw G2 play with a sub was when they played with Promisq against Fnatic, and it was one of the best games I've ever watched. We'll see if that happens today.
And we're on the Rift. Reminder, if you're just tuning in right now, if you're catching the VOD and you didn't catch Pickman or Analyst-esque, it's your boy, Pinoy. He's down in the bot lane, subbing in for perks. Now, we talked about the lane priority for G2 versus Misfits, the fact that Caps is on this AP Kog'Maw, 10.13. He did see some ratio buffs, but he's not going to be able to contest the wave, especially for these early levels, at least not to my understanding. Maybe I'll learn something new about Kog'Maw today. Obviously, even without the AP ratios, his W still does a ton of damage, so maybe he tries to contest trade patterns and whittling down Azir rather than just trying to out-push him. So our cameraman, loving Pinoy. If you're curious also why I'm solo casting, trying to get your boy Drakos back in.
All right, I think am I here?
Oh, honey, I
missed you too. Okay, I've just been confirmed that you can actually hear me, because that's the danger, because fun fact, we're talking on Discord, but we're also communicating to you, audience, via a different program. So even if you could hear me, Froskurinn, it would just sound like you're talking to yourself if the setup wasn't right. But you're right. It's time. Obviously, we're into game now. Sorry for the delay. Shout out to Vodafone for that one. Love you there with the random router restarts. We're getting into it now, though. And Froskurinn, you're talking about Kog'Maw. I think that level 6 point is so important. And also, early itemization. Because, let's be honest, Tear of the Goddess, not a great early combat stats item. But we'll see exactly what G2 can do. How Caps wants to play this lane. Definitely does not want to be standing that close to the wall, though. The flash in from Razork, that's a clean setup. But still, Caps is going to walk that one out.
Yeah, but him not having the flash, I was talking before you joined the call about how Kog'Maw maybe doesn't want to just try to out-push the Azir here since he won't be able to do it to later levels, and maybe relies on kind of winning small little trades with his W being up, even though he is going to be the AP Kog'Maw. But without flash, definitely not going to be an option now.
Yeah, and I think Kog'Maw's just one of those very unique mid lane champions. Caps has been spamming this in solo queue since the patch came through, and while he has seen a lot of success, I think the champion, if you're used to playing against it, doesn't do a ton. The Q obviously doing a lot of damage, the W letting him farm safely, but he's so mana intensive, and once he gets that AP, he's a terror, but until then, Febiven clearly dominating the lane for now. Frost, my big questions are kind of the rest of these lane matchups. I got to watch the draft, power of mobile data on my phone, and I'm just like, I'm so caught off by how defensive this G2 bottom side is in the early game. Ezreal Tahm Kench is historically like we want to concede all pressure completely style bot lane, and that scares me because now Caps could be in trouble mid lane.
They're going to dive him. Now, Caps does have a ward on Raptor Camp. We'll see if he catches them coming around the corner. Thank you, observers. They managed to get into the brush. At least I'm assuming that they're in the brush without being spotted. Nope. JK.
Moving in, sweeping out. Doss is here as well, but they're going to zone him off. And Febiven set up to potentially take a tower play. He's dashing over. He's trying to fight Caps, but now he's the one isolating enemy territory. Jankos now moving in.
Mana.
It's going to be the slow walk down. Febiven running for his life, looking for, looks like a cheeky flash over the wall, but Razork's on the way. They could try to turn this one right back, and actually incredible patience coming in here from Feb. Never mind. Nope, Mickey's here too. Now Febiven has to flash. There's nothing left for him. He's got to leave. I was going to say, wow, the patience from Febiven to hold on to his flash, to make it out there. But hey, if it's a fight, Mickey had to be there. He does roam his way up and make sure that they are able to at least get that cooldown.
The whole family just showed up there. The fact that both supports walked up, Mickey with the delayed waddle, and now you have the flash missing on Febiven. Of course, the obvious thing is that's not going to punish the Azir as much as it will punish Kog'Maw. That reason, thank you.
Wow,
right
yeah,
there.
It's like Jankos is trying to make you look incredible at your job. He runs into the lane right as you're like, yeah, Azir's not going to be able to gankable. There it is.
But at least it alleviates some pressure on little Caps here, although Jankos really needs to cover him on this wave because he's got a big wave stacking up, so it'll slowly eventually hit Febiven's tower. Oh. Just run at him.
Slowly going to come down. Yeah, just helping to buy, it looks like an optimal back timing here. I'm assuming the Caps will go back and be able to buy the full tier as Wunder is getting clapped in this matchup. He was the first to bust out the Mordekaiser into Wukong counter, and now he's suffering it against it himself.
Oh, in that build. Dan already with the double cloth armor. Wukong is not going to have a good time. Dan knows exactly what's up. He's going to win this 1v1. I talked about it a bit in draft, though. I don't mind if Wunder just hard loses this. He got counterpicked. It's not going to be a super fun time for him on the Wukong because I feel like his responsibility to this comp isn't necessarily to actually kill anyone. If he does, that's just a bonus. His responsibility is to buy time for Caps and Ezreal.
Yeah, and I do get concerned though because while he doesn't necessarily need to smash Mordekaiser to be able to disrupt a team fight, Mordekaiser that is strong, that can just ult your Kog'Maw or your Ezreal out of the fight, makes these team fights pretty impossible to play against an ADC Kai'Sa, especially a Kai'Sa who's going to shred through those tanky health bars, but now we have a little skirmish breaking out of the bottom side. Doss ready to make his way over the wall, and G2 just descending on Misfits. Dan now in enemy territory, definitely not where you want to be. That one has to hurt.
And first blood to Pinoy right there. It was all going so well for Dan to start it all off, but unfortunately teleports in the middle of G2 and handing off the first blood to the brand new AD carry joining the roster. So welcome Pinoy to G2. You got your first blood. What you gonna do with it?
I'm ready for the Pinoy pop-off. I'm ready for the Gambit throwback. I wish he played Graves. I wanted it so bad. I know new Graves is absolute trash in bot lane compared to pre-work Graves, but let's take a look back at the fight, see exactly what G2 tried to do here.
I mean, I think it's really Mickey's positioning. The issue is that Misfits took way too much damage from the Infernal and then allowed G2 to collapse on them. And then here's the unfortunate teleport. And Mickey just does a really good job knowing that the flash is going to come out and then slowing down Dan, making sure they can't get around that corner and getting walked down by the rest of G2. Yep. But meanwhile, back in top lane, Bramblevest.
Oh, we've been here before. Bramblevest and Dazanya, if I remember correctly. You stop sometimes for Leandry's on the way if you want to sit on Seekers, and it's, yeah, you're not coming out on top in that 1v1. Mordekaiser, one of those obnoxious juggernaut champions who builds one damage item more often than not, and then just can kill your entire team if left alone. That's the power of Mord with Leandry's.
Other key itemizations coming out is the fact that you already have Pinoy with Tier and Sheen, so this 1v1 or 2v2 down to the bot lane is actually going to feel pretty good for G2 here, despite the kill pressure that Leona and Kai'Sa can really exert.
I think you're completely right. I think the other big thing here is, we'll hold that thought, mid lane gank potentially coming out. Cap's feeling a lot more confidence here. That's level 6 coming in for Kog'Maw. Massive shift in the power dynamic in lane. Jankos still going forward, getting pulled in by Sett. He's going to flash forward with the ulti against the chilling smite, but the wall pushes him away. Bye-bye, Jankos. That has to be embarrassing.
Oh no, a sliver of health. I want to know exactly, producers, if you could just whisper into our ear how much Febiven walked away with. Oh wait, the ult!
Nothing left. Ooh.
Oh.
And that one's
aiming it at the base to try to catch them immediately as they come down and spawn. Big brain.
Also, by the way, Volibear ult is a very slow animation. And if you flash to get closer, it doesn't make the animation much faster. So I just feel like if we had ulted first and then flashed after, there might have been a kill there for Jankos. So a bit questionable. But now we see some aggressive trading on the top side, as so frequently the story, but Wunder's just going to have to burn his cooldowns defensively, getting pulled back in. Essentially means that he should be dead. Wunder forced to burn the ultimate now to walk away. The extra movement speed's good. Second knockup, wants to pull back, Obliterate will connect, and Wunder has to flash out to safety. Lucky for him, Dan already burned that flash bot lane, or he most certainly would have been dead.
I'm curious if, I don't know Mordekaiser's trade patterns well enough to know if Dan, if he had held on to his pole and maybe tried to grab Wunder in the flash there. I think maybe he was thinking that I have to immediately pull him back because Wunder's probably going to flash as soon as the ultimate comes down.
Yeah, I think it's
something to look at.
It's a hugely long cooldown, so it's one of those ones that you usually get once per trade, rarely more than that, although Mikyx can have to see if anyone can save him here, as Jankos appears to just be leaving him to death, but Razork still wants a little bit more here, running forward. Chilling Smite will come down, and Jankos will just zoom out to safety.
He looked him dead in the eyes, he's like, not today.
Oh my god, look at Caps though. Ooh.
That damage.
That's 2 for 3 on the Bio-Arcane Barrages. Of course, does get very expensive if you spam it too much, but makes it very easy to bully out in small burst windows.
So far, though, in this game, we've had a lot of skirmishing back and forth, especially over this river. I think things need to calm down a little bit more. Febiven, I think his flash has just now come off of cooldown, so he could be looking for the scoop on Caps here.
The what? The goop?
The scoop.
Oh, the scoop. I thought you said the goop. I was like, Kog'Maw makes the goop, girl. It's a goop. Where's the scoop? The mid lane.
I said it right this time.
My bad, then I'm not listening right. It's fine. We're adjusting, all right? It's day 1 of being back online. Hopefully of 2 days, but we'll see as we get later. 6 HP is the confirmation coming in on the back end of that play for Febiven. Fancy feet,
it's just not fair.
is what we have to keep our eye on. A fast enough Febiven can surely sidestep all of these, but it will definitely be difficult.
So right now we're playing for Herald. That's why Mikyx's on the mid lane, helping support Caps while he pushes for priority here. Wunder currently in a 1v3 situation, but they should spot out Jankos here. Okay, what's going to be the call from Misfits? This is usually where the team has really struggled. It's setting themselves up for proper fights around these objectives. They are split from Febiven.
TP now coming in.
And now at a numbers disadvantage because Dan doesn't have teleport.
Benoit here just going to walk over. Using that TP to cheat priority a little bit, as Mordekaiser will take up his home on the top lane, but that's the difference in summoner spells so far. Of course, Kobbe does have the exhaust, so if the fight breaks out, not able to steal that one away. Mikyx should grab the Herald here, and Razork potentially in trouble. Jankos going in, he gets the knockback. That's going to be big Ezreal coming forward, forcing early haymaker now. The shutdown comes in as well, and Febiven's going to be in trouble, but he just dashes out to safety. Well played by G2.
And it's just those small mistakes, you know, Razork just getting caught out barely right there, and now forcing a shutdown over into the AP Kog'Maw's hands. And that is going to be exceptionally painful as he's getting all these plates on top of it. Caps is going to be so rich on this next pack. Now, meanwhile, cross map, you can see the picture-in-picture, thank you, observers, focusing on... Oh, no.
Febiven.
Oh, we got it!
Half health. Taking another chunk, and of course, the lower you get, remember, this Kog'Maw changes from forever ago, probably almost 1.5 years now, maybe 2. Time is weird in League of Legends when you played it this long. The lower you get, the more damage that ult is going to do, so getting below half health in this lane is a truly terrifying prospect.
Anyway, finishing my point after I was clinching a bit for Febiven there. Dan got a lot of gold, got a lot of experience, so Misfits did get something in terms of the trade for Razork's death as well as Herald. Don't think it was necessarily worth it, because super fed Kog'Maw to a Mordekaiser that might not be able to reach him, that can be dangerous.
In addition, of course, Wunder taking some plates while Misfits are able to take this dragon. And I was skeptical, admittedly, about the Tahm, Kench plus Ezreal combo, but it's not the Tahm, Kench, Ezreal combo that G2 are worried about. It's the Tahm, Kench, Kog'Maw combo. You can see that they've left Benoit on his own, and Mikyx continues to just hover around mid lane. And this combo, I like a lot, because AP Kog'Maw does a ludicrous amount of damage. His only real weakness is that he cannot protect himself.
He really wants Febiven to try to sweep him. He's daring him to do it.
You can see the entire team, though, just grouped around mid to let Caps pop off with this AP Kog'Maw. And Froskurinn, this is such a weird game in terms of stakes, because on the one hand, it's hard to take it seriously because G2 are playing with the sub. They're giving Luka, you know, some much-needed rest and relaxation. But at the same time, both teams are 4-3. So in terms of stakes, in terms of actual value of an individual win here, it's actually quite big for both these organizations.
Again, it's just always the reminder that we're in like our shortest split ever. It's the most important one because it's summer. You do not have time to struggle, and both these teams have stumbled a bit in the run-up to this game. So you are correct. The stakes do matter a lot here. Everyone is way too close in the standings.
There's now Razork.
Razork maybe caught out again.
1, 2, and 3. Challenging Smite. He just gets spit right back in. That's the setup. He flashes out safety. Flash done. That's the follow-up. Jankos grabs the kill. Easy.
And unfortunately, Razork is looking very different from spring to summer. A lot of the conversation is talking about, you know, is it Dinnick that's missing? Was Dinnick and Razork like the magical synergy combo? And maybe he's just not finding that same thing with DOS. But, you know, in a situation like that, Razork is doing exactly what he did in spring, but he's not doing it with the Febiven following him. Febiven doesn't have control in this lane right now. And so Razork is just kind of going on his own.
Febiven cannot back in this game. The hidden power of this Kog'Maw mid is that between the Ezreal ult and the Kog'Maw ult, Febiven just does not get to leave when he wants to. And now he's under pressure here as Wunder and Jankos can't just look for the dive. Razork can come in here on the side, but he might not get a chance. Ooh, Wuk, that was... I don't know exactly what happened there on the spectator client, but it definitely, most certainly, Febiven just died. Dug back down, Dan now on the way, and they want to get something. Cap still untouched on the backside. He's going to do so much damage. Death Realm comes out, but Wunder just flashes out to safety. Dan going to respond. Does he have the clone? No. Dan now comes out of the Death Realm, but big follow-up damage. He's low, and that means Cap's going to do double damage, soon triple. Follow-up as the extra bonus health comes in, but Dan takes 2, and Caps has to be careful. If he steps too far forward, he'll get pulled back and knocked out. Well played by Dan.
I think we're just going to walk it all off. So we talked about how Caps is going to be massive on this Kog'Maw. He's already got the Archangels there. He's going to back with a ton of gold as well. Dan also now massive on this Mordekaiser, and maybe that's the answer that Misfits need. Playing one of those side lanes is he already has the armor to deal with the Wukong and is now starting to build up more of that penetration and that AP. But the unfortunate thing still is that while Dan's strong, unless Caps walks into him, it's still going to be really difficult to threaten G2's damage dealers on the back line.
Very much the case. We take a look back at this replay and see the execution here, and I gotta say it again. The stopping recalls thing is just so obnoxious.
Drakos, you're a genius. That's exactly it. It is so broken. It's so obnoxious.
Here's the one that we have to look at, because it looked like Wunder got pushed out, but I guess the dot was enough to kill him. Oh. No, okay, that was just mad questionable both times we watched it. Don't know what happened there, folks. Spaghetti code.
I don't know. He teleported.
New patch.
It's the Vodafone.
Wukong is actually Son Goku. He can just instant transmission anywhere he wants to one-shot you. It's how we do it here.
Yikes.
Oh well. I think Febiven was dead either way. It just looked a little bit odd on our end from a spectator client perspective. But I like that we're flashing the gold up here. Thank you, production team. But you can see Caps is wildly far ahead of everyone. 1,500 gold in the lead. Has now...
Do you think he'll... Oh. He's already...
Bye, Pinoy.
Okay. Back to the main point. Caps already has the... what's the word? Needlessly large rod sitting in his pocket. Do you think he goes death cap here and just goes for like the most amount of flat AP, or do you think he goes Luden's Echo for the
I think...
push?
I mean, Luden's Echo is Lost Chapter Blasting Wand, right? So it would be, it has to be either the movement speed item, which name is currently evading me, which I doubt.
Oh, Spellbinder.
I will hold that thought. Jankos once again caught out. We're starting to see the power of the Kai'Sa Leona combo, but Jankos is just a little bit too speedy. Frosk, I think it's death cap. I think that damage against specifically Kai'Sa and the Azir is just too powerful to give up. But now,
has
Mickey in trouble.
Maybe some picks. Okay, so we've talked about a lot about kind of what G2 are doing really well. Let's talk about what Misfits are doing well. Yes, they've been under constant siege and pressure, but they are doing a really good job on making sure that guys like Kobbe and guys like Dan are finding these side lanes and still picking up a lot of farm, getting strong, and now making picks.
Could use the stopwatch to go for the aggressive engage here, but Pinoy snipes him down. Perfect all coming in from the Ezreal. Jankos leaps right over the wall, and now he's on the back line. Febiven can't get away from him. That's one powerful bear. Pinoy still free firing as Cap starts to run them down. Bio arcane barrages from the sky, and Dan takes him into the death realm, but once he comes out, there's going to be nothing left. Goodbye. Triple kill for Caps, and G2 monster that fight.
And I just caster cursed all of Misfits right there. They walked into the dragon fight. They then gave the triple over to Caps. If you thought this Kog'Maw was a problem previously, he's definitely going death cap now. They're flashing the emotes, and Kobbe is just playing dodgeball with Kog'Maw.
So hard to. Committing to auto attack a creep at this point is...
He's doing a good job.
I mean, Caps is actively burning through all of his mana, and the fact that Kobbe can now step forward and get aggressive here, but Caps does so much. Pull back from Mikyx, spit out, but Doss is on the way now. They have to be careful. All goes down on the Mikyx. Caps damage has to be respected, though. That's disgusting. No wonder they want to pick this champion, but now it's Febiven on the backside. Where's the Devour cooldown? It's not available, which means Caps goes down. He's going to maximize the value of that passive. Does Febiven die here? Oh, just barely able to live, but that Kog'Maw damage is disgusting.
Okay, I'll admit, Kog'Maw's looking really good this game. There's the death cap. But he is 7-1. So I feel like the game got a bit out of control, that you probably would see a Kog'Maw get this fed normally. And maybe if this was a bit more evenly matched in terms of gold values and he wasn't so far ahead of the clock, maybe these team fights might look different. But this is the team fight that we do have. Pinoy, shout out, excellent snipe right there. I liked initially what Misfits were trying to set up here, but yeah, it quickly dissolved with the reach, range, and power of Kog'Maw and Ezreal.
Very true, and this is a game that I feel like is an absolute nightmare for Kai'Sa, because normally her big strength compared to other carries is she just gets to get in your face, out DPS you when you're isolated, but when Kog'Maw has this many kills, it's no longer your strength. Look at that damage, 8K in the last team fight. That entire skirmish was 8K. That is, whew, that is too much.
Can I see how much damage? Production, can we get how much damage he's done the entire game so far?
That'll be a good one.
We'll take a moment while they prepare that one, hopefully for us. Sorry, guys.
He'll get it. We'll put him on the spot, but I mean, it's worth investigating because that is, 15K. No, literally no one is even remotely close. Dan has half that as the leader on the Misfits lineup, but
the thing is he got over half of that in the last team fight.
He can do it again if they don't kill him. And as you can see here, Misfits are trying to find an avenue to kill him, but while Pinoy can peel for himself, Mikyx's sole job is now to protect Caps. He will start to back into the jungle, can snipe from over the wall, just going to continue to spam that all. Big damage onto Razork, not happy with that one. The follow up there from Jankos. Razork's now running for the hills. And Caps just continues to rain down. Once you start running from a Kog'Maw, he will kill you. Oh, the side steps.
Dodgeball, left, right, left, right.
Nope. The W, but he knows exactly where he's going to go. That's one. They're just... this champion is disgusting. Kobbe, can he play dodgeball? They're just waiting. They're going to land the slows first. They're going to take him out as well. The flash away. Pinoy hits the Q anyway. Oh, no.
Okay, I want to check it on itemization. It's not the Trinity Force coming out of Ezreal. Obviously, it is the Iceborne Godblade. And gentle viewer, you can probably guess why that's a great itemization when you have a Kog'Maw who's just playing sniper rifle.
This is not interactive. The second you have to start walking away from G2, you're dead. Because Kog'Maw just gets to keep free firing. And if you don't have flash available, you have no chance. G2, that's a 20-minute Baron. We did have a graphic prepared. We were going to ask, do G2 need to take a Baron to win this game? The answer is yes. They are going absolute try-hard mode. That is their first Baron of the split. They have not taken a single one before that in any of their games.
Watch them lose now.
Baron's the problem.
It's just curse. Now, obviously, the cool thing about G2 and why they don't need Barons to win is because they play side lane so well. It's always been a thing of G2 being able to play 1-3-1, as I say that.
Gonna find the knockup, gonna get pushed back, is still gonna make it out of that one. I guess flashed immediately upon landing. Nope, no recall denied this time.
Okay, continuing on with the point. Because G2 are able to play multiple lanes so well and play a pressure game that doesn't revolve around creating pressure around monster objectives, that's why they don't need Barons to win. And that's why a lot of analysts really love G2's playstyle and why they've been dominant for so long. So it's reflected in that stat. You don't need Baron to win. If you do, you're just putting yourself on timers. Teams that overinvest in Dragon and Baron timers will only really play one style.
I like that just synopsis of the weakness of that style and of the strength of G2 as we now see the TP coming in and Froskurinn. This game, G2 have a Baron. They also have a Kog'Maw with an 8-stack Medjai's, a Death Cap, and a Seraph's Embrace. So I feel like whatever G2 was playing before, they're playing the game on easy mode. They got that, they turned the difficulty down, and now they just want to close it out as nice and as clean as possible.
Oh, you say that, but it's also G2. Okay, Desperation plays for Misfits. They don't have a teleport on Febiven, but he has refreshed his health. He does have Flash about to come up.
Health again.
So I think Febiven's going to, I think he has to sprint in, and they just have to go for the hard engage.
Dandan's trying to find an isolated matchup versus Wunder, but the rest of G2 is just walking over. Jankos is going to waddle his way out of that one. And they're now trying to isolate Dandan. Flash forward there from Mickey. Dandan flashing out to safety. G2 just going to break down the base, and I don't think Misfits know what to do here.
The problem is that none of their members are full health when they need to be.
What?
Like, Febiven, oh my god. Febiven literally walked off the spawn, got half health, but the thing was, is as he was running back, more of his team got chunked out. So it's probably like, okay, I'm gonna go heal up, and then I'm gonna come back, and we're gonna look for the fight. And as soon as Febiven gets back there, DOS is on 25% HP. They're never all full health.
This is an incredible performance from G2 and especially from Caps on this Kog'Maw mid. The team really setting up for success in so many of these fights, but it's a PSA, don't play this champion in solo queue. This is not what it looks like without a coordinated team behind you.
They have to go in, they're going.
The big set to start off. They pulled Kog'Maw back, but Mikyx has said no. He's saved him for now. DOS wants to re-engage, but he's not going to get the chance. Febiven flashes in, but Caps is still alive. The Volibear goes. They know their only job is to peel for Caps, and as a result, Caps just gets to kill every single member. That's the double. Dandan's going to come out. Caps lining up for the triple, and Mickey's going to take it away in the end. Are you kidding me? G2 not touched in that team fight.
And you knew that Misfits had to do it. They realized, like, we cannot delay on pulling the trigger here. We just have to immediately sprint at them because otherwise they just chunk us out too quickly. The Kog'Maw is too far ahead.
Chilling Smite comes in. Razork certainly set to fall here. Cannot believe they come out of that team fight only losing Wunder, even with the perfect setup for Misfits. But they got all their cooldowns. Now, when Wunder responds, they'll have all 5 up. They could look to end, but it looks like they're just going to take their time here. Pinoy and Jankos are too low. Even with Caps at full health, they're not going to end this one. And the BM from the emotes just continues. Mikyx says, this is fine, Misfits. Everything's okay.
I mean, Mickey's job, basically. He's pressed his emote key more than he's done really anything else.
And damn. I mean, come on. Yeah, he has a good tongue lashes. He's been in the right spot. He was hiding in that bush that Razork walked into for some reason.
That's not Mickey playing poorly. That's just the fact that it's taken, you know, it's only 24 minutes in the game, but think of how long it's taken for Misfits to get to this point where they realize that they just have to go in, and Mickey actually has to do something on the Tahm Kench. Otherwise, Mickey's just like, they're not doing anything. I'm just going to spam emotes at them.
That's a quality emote wheel, too. That was the most impressive thing in that team fight right there. Bam, bam, bam.
I think he got through every single emote.
Yeah.
That's the around the world
quality disrespect. And I honestly thought the G2 coming into this week were just not going to be a threat. Without Perks there, a man who's been a rock for this lineup, how are they going to be able to get anything done? But they are monstering Misfits, and from now on, this Kog'Maw certainly needs to be respected. Ooh, Wunder waving the white flag for them. They're just going to try to end. Febiven doesn't get to play League of Legends. That's his dash burn. He can't use it to engage anymore, and Caps just continues to throw down an absolute mountain of damage. The flash forward from DOS. The ulti will not connect. Wunder trying to buy space with double ult stacks. He's going to go down incredibly low. Kobbe's still alive on the backside. He's going to leap in. He's going to try and take out Wunder. Wunder's got one more reset, though. That's Kobbe finding 2. Volibear leaping in, though. It's now Febiven in trouble. Pinoy coming forward. Caps still alive. I cannot believe it. Goes golden on the ship. That was flawless. Pinoy now on a rampage. G2 cleaning house. They're going to move up to 5-3. Misfits left down at 4-4 as Caps just finishes off the remaining members of Misfits. A dominating performance from the G2 lineup from Caps. Welcome to the LEC Pinoy.
That was so dirty. Oh, that Sonya's hourglass.
I mean...
Okay.
What are we... Wow. Wow is, I think, the most we can say, right? Like, ultimately, of course, PGL is coming up. Get excited for that one. Also, it's incredibly hot in my house. I'm sorry. I was wearing a dress shirt. I was professional. I'm in a tank top now. It happened during the internet outage.
Did you just rip on? It's fine. Okay, good things about that game. Kobbe played really well. I think the game spiraled very quickly out of Misfits' hands. So, you know, a loss like that, I hope doesn't sting too much because it just got snowballed on them so quickly that they probably would have FF'd that one if it was a scrim much earlier on. So hopefully they can shake that out. Naturally, still a really important game because the standings are so tight. On the G2 side, that was disgusting. Expertly played by Caps. Really interesting composition about just doing zone control and basically letting your Kog'Maw 1v9.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when we look at it, Froskurinn, like, key player of the game. Really, you could pick anyone that game. It was an excellent performance all around, obviously.
It's Caps.
It's Caps, but you can also choose Mikyx or Jankos if you want to. Those are definitely on the board as well. And I think as a whole, this is one of those games that, yeah, you kind of just look at and you move on there, Froskurinn. There's really nothing left there for Misfits in that one.
I don't think you know how these streams work, Drakos. Normally you don't get dressed.
Well, to be fair, they said I got a message saying to put on my jacket. Sorry for the armpit hair. We're going to toss the break, and we'll be back shortly with PGL, with interviews, with everything that you love to see. Yeah, later, folks.
And welcome back to the ADC Laure here, joined by Pinoy after G2's win with this new bot laner. Congrats, welcome back. Lots of things I want to say. That was a super fun game. How was it for you? I mean, first steps back in the EU stage in like 4 or 5 years, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, this game in particular wasn't really hard. I didn't have to do much, just sit back and put some Ezreal Qs. Caps kind of did the work, so that was pretty nice. But it's really great to be back and playing with like such legends that just played the World's finals, and just being able to play with them and learn a lot. Like playing with them, like one thing is like watching scrims and listening to them, but when you're like in the game with them, just feeling how the flow is, and it's something that I can take with me whatever I do next.
Well, tell me about it, because it sure isn't easy just arriving at the gaming house like 1 week before playing and just getting to know these teammates and being ready on D-Day to deliver on stage and on the Rift. So how was it getting to know G2 and screaming with them during this week?
Well, I've been in the house before, so I kind of knew the players, and I've known some of them for longer than others, but it was kind of surprising. I arrived Tuesday around 1 p.m. and they're like, yeah, we're scrimming in 15 minutes. I'm like, okay, gotta set up everything, you know. I was just like getting myself in, but I was honestly very nervous. Not nervous, but I was wondering where my level is, like playing these kind of high level scrims, you know, because I've been playing in the lower ERLs and players are a lot worse there. So I was just like kind of excited to see where my level was, if I'm going to be like a super heavy death back that my team has to carry me every game, or was I able to perform with the enemy. And I felt like our scrims went really well, and I kind of exceeded my own expectations in that regard. So yeah, and this team also gives me a lot of freedom, because I have a lot of wonky picks. Maybe you'll see them tomorrow, maybe not.
Nice.
But they give me a lot of free time, and they give me so much space where I can just do what I want, and that's what I really love about this team, and that's probably why they're succeeding so much as they're doing.
That's amazing to hear. I mean, we know we only see G2 from the outside, but having this inside is like valuable. And I'm only wondering, you were playing in the IRL. I mean, last time I saw you was in the LFL, actually. And we're often wondering what makes an IRL team this level compared to what you see in the LEC. So from your experience and what you had within the LFL, for instance, what makes like G2 and the LEC level fundamentally better, like as a player, in the way you train, the way they see the game? Like, how do you compare the two?
I think one thing is that maybe the players are on a worse level, just like in terms of play, but they're also like a lot more. I think they're restricting them way more. Like if you have new picks in the RL, you have to like play it a lot in solo queue to convince your coach or something. And this is like what we're seeing more in like LEC, where Mad Lions, other teams are allowed to just play whatever they want, and they're showing really great. And I feel like yeah, that's just kind of people want to play together, and a lot of ERLs, like you kind of always have these 1 or 2 players that are maybe like talking bad about behind each other, and you're not gonna come far with that, because you just need to be straight up for it. If you want to improve, you need to just like pick people out when they're wrong, and you need to just figure out a way to improve together. But in the ERLs, like a lot of people are just like snakes, so yeah.
Okay, honesty and trust make the best work, that I can know for sure. But now, I mean, you said that you thought you would get carried here, that Kevs did all the work. You had a good performance here, Pinoy, and we're really glad to have you back on the EU stage. So moving forward to the game you're going to have tomorrow against XL, how is this one going to go?
Well, that one game is going to be fun. I'm probably going to play a fun champion as well, because I have like 3-4 picks that I prepared in case my Ezreal gets banned. So XL, ban my Ezreal, and you will see.
1 teaser, 2 teasers about tomorrow. Okay, we'll be looking for that pick and ban phase against XL. Thank you very much, Pinoy, for the interview, and congrats on the first win in the EU stage again.
Thank you. Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you to all the Philippines fans that has been supporting me, and all the love I've gotten on Twitter and everything. Like just coming back and seeing all the positive message, even though I have been out for the scene for a while, is so overwhelming, and it makes me a lot happy, especially when we win like this. And a lot of people expected, oh, G2 is doing so bad, and we're probably gonna 0-2 this week because we have a sub. But tomorrow we'll go 2-0, and then G2 will take, or Perks will take over, and I'm honestly also dedicating this win to him, because he has been having a hard time, and we're just trying to do the best for him. So I'll carry him this weekend, and then he probably carries me to a World Finals, and then I'll lift the trophy with him. whenever that is. And then, yeah, shout out to my boys home and Denmark as well. And thank you, Laure, for the interview.
That's an amazing shout out. Thank you very much, Pinoy, again for the interview. And we're going to take a break now and we'll come back in a few minutes with the post-game lobby with Crown Shots. Stay tuned, guys.